Are you making one of these critical mistakes on your website? Welcome back to my channel, you guys. I'm Amy from Rebel Nutrition, and I help health coaches and nutritionists create profitable online businesses. And FYI, if you aren't either of those things, that's totally okay. These tips and tricks are still going to apply to you. But I wanted to show up today and talk about some of the most common mistakes that I see people making on the main homepage of their website. And after working with thousands of people on this through my courses and my one-on-one coaching, these are just such common mistakes that are so simple to fix. So be sure to stay until number 8, because this one is really going to be affecting you if you feel like you're not making money or you're not making the type of money that you want to be making in your business right now. It could be number 8. All right, so mistake number 1 is just confusion. So when somebody comes to your website, they should be able to know within a couple seconds what it is that you're selling. So a lot of times when I'm looking at clients or students of mine's websites, I will go to their, homepage of their blog, and it's kind of unclear. I'm not sure if it's like an informational blog. I'm not sure if they create recipes. I'm not sure if they work with clients in a one-on-one setting, or if they sell beauty counter, or, I have no idea. So it's really important that within a couple seconds of getting to your website, your ideal audience should pretty much immediately understand what it is that you're selling, assuming that you are trying to make this into a business and your website is where you're trying to convert people into paying clients and customers. Okay, mistake number 2, and you guys are gonna have to really think critically about this one. I think it's going to depend on your preference whether you think this is a mistake or not, but mistake number 2 is pop-ups. So there are pros and cons to having a pop-up on your website, and if you guys aren't sure what I mean by pop-up, it's literally the thing when you get to a website that pops up and says like, hey, do you wanna join my newsletter, or something like that. I personally am not a big fan of pop-ups, and I will click out of those like as soon as I see them, even if I actually do end up wanting what it's offering. They just annoy me, and they kind of like are so sporadic. I really don't like them, and so I don't like to have them on my website. But I'm really leaving this one up to you, because obviously this is a way to generate leads and get people onto your email list. And if you are somebody who likes pop-ups and you find yourself opting in on other people's websites to their pop-ups, I think that you should listen to that and pay attention to that, because the thing about having an online business, particularly a personal brand, is that we are going to naturally attract people that are similar to us and have the same types of habits. So think about your own habits as it relates to pop-ups, and then decide whether that's a good fit for you or not. All right, mistake number 3 that I see a lot of people making on their websites is having the call to action below the fold. So the fold is kind of an old school term I think in like newspaper, when they're saying like literally where the newspaper folds. But online, what that means is like somebody should see the call to action button or opt in or whatever it is that you are using to convert people to get them onto your email list. That should be easy to be seen by them before they even have to scroll down. So I know that sounds like, well, people are just going to scroll down, but they might not. So you want that to be visible as soon as somebody gets to your website. They should be able to opt in to whatever that call to action button says without having to scroll down your page. And just a little side note here, you guys, a really good book that I recommend on the topic of optimizing your website and really understanding like the brand story that you as a business are telling to your audience and the people who you're converting into customers is the book Building a Story Brand, and I will link to that in the description below. I highly recommend it. It's a quick and easy read, but it's super interesting. And it also talks a lot about even more on this topic of like optimizing your website. Okay, mistake number 4 is kind of on the same note of your call to action. You want to make your call to action, and again, your call to action is the thing that you are asking your audience to take action on to get onto your email list or to buy your product or whatever it is. You want to make sure that that's actually enticing to your audience. So a lot of times something that I will see is something like join the newsletter. And I'm sorry to be blunt, you guys, but like at this point, nobody wants to join another newsletter, okay? You have to make it really enticing for your audience. So assuming that you know exactly what their pain points are and what they're going through and what kind of result they're looking for, and if you don't, you definitely should, that's something you can speak to, and you can create a free offer or something similar and ask them if they want it, basically. So like join my free 30-day celery juice challenge or something. And that's where you'll have your call to action. You're asking them to opt in and hopefully get them onto your email list. Or if you want to send them straight to the sale, you could do that too. I normally recommend doing the free option first, because that way you're capturing their emails and you can follow up with them and eventually make the sale later on down the road. All right, mistake number 5 is having way too much text on the homepage of your website, or really anywhere on your website. You guys, I like to kind of just assume that people who are coming to my website are only going to read like the headlines. And maybe that changes between different audiences, but really I think across the board, people have really short attention spans these days and are probably not going to be reading paragraphs of text, especially on your homepage when they've first gotten there and they don't really maybe know or care who you are yet or what you have to say. So you want to kind of make this homepage of your website almost like you're giving and giving and giving to them before you're asking anything in return. And I kind of view paragraphs of text as sort of an ask. You're asking them to read about your story or whatever. So keep it simple, keep it short, keep it to the point, and just assume that people are only going to be reading really the headlines. So don't write too much. Okay, mistake number 6 on the homepage of your website is not having a photo of you. And again, obviously this is going to kind of depend on what your business is. And if you're more of a personal brand, then obviously this is like really important. You definitely want to have a photo of you. But I think these days, even if you're not like totally a personal brand, maybe you do one-on-one client consultations or you sell courses that are unrelated to like who you are personally, I still think that people these days really want to know the face behind what they're purchasing, especially online. They want to know who they're purchasing from. And so that doesn't mean that you need to write paragraphs upon paragraphs about your story, but I think even just having a picture of you somewhere and a quick little, hey, I'm Amy, this is what I do, click here to learn more. And then from there, you can link them to your About Me page. And on your About Me page, I think it is appropriate to have a couple paragraphs of text if you want to talk more about your story, how you learned what you know, how you help people, all of that. Because your About Me page, this could be a totally different video, but that's really important too. But you don't really want to be crowding the homepage of your website with all of that. You kind of want to make it an option. If they want to learn about you, they can click over there, but that's not like crowding up your main homepage of your website. All right, mistake number 7, and you can totally test this on your own website and see if it's a problem for you, but you want to make sure that your images on your website are optimized. So if you go to your website, and make sure you go from an incognito browser, because if you've already gone to your website, it's already going to be loaded on there. So go from an incognito browser so you can see what it would look like to a new person who's coming to your website. Put in your website, so rebelnutrition.com, for example, and see how fast the photos load. So if you put in that URL and it's taking a long time and like nothing is showing up, think about how many potential clients, customers, students you could be losing in that time just because your images aren't optimized and they aren't loading fast enough. People are just going to immediately click away. So the way to test this, obviously you can try it on your own website, but you can also just Google what the optimal, header image size is for whatever site you're using. So Squarespace, WordPress, Wix, whatever, just Google like optimal header image size for Squarespace or whatever. And that should come up. I don't want to give you recommendations because number 1, it changes a lot. And number 2, I know everybody's probably using a different platform. All right, and mistake number 8, you guys, this one is huge. If you feel like you're not making enough money or you're not making as many sales as you'd like to be. And I hear this all the time from my clients and students, like, I'm struggling to make enough money. And the number 1 thing I say is, are you kind of subconsciously blocking people from paying you? So what I mean by that is a lot of times it's hard or it's difficult to actually purchase from somebody's website. You kind of have to like go down a rabbit hole and it's not super clear. Like, what are they selling me? How can I pay for this? How do I book with them? What are they actually selling me? Like, I'm not sure if it's essential oils or coaching. So number 1, make it really clear. But number 2, Make sure that it's really, really easy for somebody to pay you and to work with you if they want to. Now, most people are not going to come to your website and purchase the very first time they get there, obviously, but you never know if somebody just watched a YouTube video of yours and now they're on your website and they are in love with you and they want to buy what you sell or they want to work with you. You want them to be able to do that immediately without you having to do anything and without having to make them jump through any hoops. So to give you a few examples, if you sell online courses, for example, like I do, make sure that they're available to purchase on your website. If they're evergreen, obviously, if they're available and it's not like an open close situation. Make sure it's easy for people to look at them and buy them if they want to. If you sell one-on-one coaching, for example, make sure that people can actually book to work with you, pay you, and even schedule a session with you without having to talk to you beforehand. Because, for example, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I get a lot of students and clients who are from different countries. And if they want to work with me and it's in the middle of the night, like where I am, I still want them to be able to pay me and wake up to that PayPal notification or whatever without me having to, email correspond back and forth with them. So one platform that will do this for you is called Acuity. And it's basically just like a little scheduler that you can embed into your website where people can pay you, and then you can, put in your availability or whatever, and they can actually pick a time to work with you and pay you, all hands off. You can even like automatically send them their intake forms and that sort of thing. So it's really, really easy for you and for them. And it's just a good way to allow people to pay you if they want to, without having to make them jump through any hoops. So to kind of wrap things up, you guys, within 10 seconds of somebody coming to your website, they should know, what is it that you sell? Is it for them or is it not for them? And how can they pay you? That is the most important thing, right? If you're trying to make a business out of this, which I know a lot of you guys are. And also, by the way, if you guys are still getting started with your online businesses, you're still trying to get your website set up and figuring out, what you can even sell to make money, I want to invite you to my free masterclass called How to Turn Your Passion into a Profitable Online Business. I will link to that in the show notes below. I would love to see you guys there. And as always, if you guys like this video, please hit the red subscribe button underneath here somewhere, and also hit the bell next to it so that you get notified every time I make a new video. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.